Carlos is. He was an amazing human being. Lance is shaking his head like, yes, I know who Carlos is. So let's get Lance over here. Everybody put your hands together for our guest today, Mr. Lance O. I guess I should probably do that. Lance, what's up, buddy? Oh, the crowd's going crazy for you, bud. Crowd's going wild. All right, Lance, how you doing, man?
I can read your lips, but I'm not hearing you.
Oh, yeah. My bad. There we go.
There you go.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, what I managed to do was mute myself as I was introducing you. So that did you hear any of that introduction at all?
I heard about half of it. Yeah.
Okay. Cole says hi. Adam, welcome. I sent your CBDs out. We're gonna be playing for some CBDs later on today. Oh, I forgot to tell everybody. We're gonna be playing for patches and CBD joints. Sorry, Lance. Lance has been very patient with us.
Oh no, it's fine.
We got patches, yeah, joints, yeah, CBD, woo. So we're gonna be playing for that a little later on how much does it cost on Craigslist, but that is then and this is now. Oh yes, welcome everyone, welcome, Lance. So
yes,
you're shaking your head about Carlos culture, and I know probably a lot of people. I don't really expect a whole lot of people to know who Carlos culture is, but as I'm like talking to people more and more, his name carried out throughout the entire country. And for anyone who doesn't know who Carlos culture is, he's also been on my podcast. He was this amazing DJ out of San Diego, California. He used to spin every Wednesday at Winston's in Ocean Beach, California. He also put on a show there, which was very popular, very, very popular night, and is very known nationwide as a great reggae night in San Diego, California. And San Diego is just well known for their reggae music and reggae scene. So it was a huge loss to the community. And I don't know, like how were you connected to him, Lance?
Actually, I first met Carlos back in the '90s when he was the co-host with Makeda Dread on 91X.
Ah, yeah, that's right, because he's a radio DJ as well. Yeah.
Right, yeah, and he was still working at it was a rock station in San Diego, but he was doing a Sunday reggae program. And the reggae community is relatively small, yeah. But the difference with Carlos and I don't know, Carlos's energy was just always so positive.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And it really impacted people in a much positive way, and I mean, we've been colleagues and friends, colleagues for almost 30 years, friends for, I've been going to California more. So we kind of, when I was in his area, I would reach out to him, and we had both had a mutual friend, colleague, and had worked a festival in just outside of Cleveland, Ohio, called the Midwest Reggae Fest. Packy Malley, he's was the promoter, and he always put on this reggae show that was around his birthday. And he would bring in Carlos, he would bring in me, he would bring in Roger Steffens, and so I kind of got to know him through that as well. And Packy is another guy who's well connected. But I have nothing but good things. And the thing was, I had done a podcast with Carlos a week and a half before he passed away.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow, that gave me chills. I don't know why, but that gave me chills.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It wasn't like we were like best friends or anything, but like it was definitely like somebody who was very. I was at Winston's all the time. I played there all the time. I was, so it was like a very, very friendly face in the crowd that I was just mad respect for. And just like you said, he is a positive person and always brought good vibes. Yeah. And he always the other thing that's really interesting about promoters and people who put on shows is that you do have to have somewhat of a good taste in music and bands and selection. and I feel like he really curated a really great selection of live musicians, and you know, I don't know if there's gonna be another Carlos anytime soon, but R.I.P. Carlos, R.I.P. Anyways, so you are a radio. Give me 1 second, dude. I know this is so rude, everybody. I have to text somebody. I'm so sorry, dude. This is so fucking rude. I had him waiting, but it's very important. So I wouldn't do this if it wasn't important.
No problem. No problem. Do your thing, man. Do your thing.
While I'm sitting here typing, why don't you kind of go through how you got into broadcasting so you can kind of update people,
Oh,
and tell me a little bit about yourself before we get into all of this.
well, I'll just start from the beginning.
Please.
I was 11 years old. I was 11 years old, living with my uncle in Coconut Grove, Miami, Florida, and he was working at the time with Peter Tosh. So I was introduced basically to reggae through the route of reggae, and he was going solo. Met him at the house. First first album I ever heard was Peter Tosh's "Legalize It."
Good.
So reggae kind of stuck with me, and when it came time to go to school and look for a higher formal education, mom just said, "Do something you love. That way you won't work, or at least you'll love the work you do." And I went into I always knew it was going to be music, and I chose, instead of playing music, because I didn't think I was very good, but I might change that because you can only get better. But I went into broadcasting with radio because I felt it was like the next best thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so at my school at the time, which was the University of North Carolina, Wilmington, there wasn't a radio station. They had one, so I started doing radio. And that's kind of where it all began. And I went on the radio, I became like a DJ, doing parties and doing events and clubs and all that stuff. And then it just opened up a large, wide open door of opportunity for me. But that's how it all began.
So tell me, did you have music in your family? Do you have like a lineage of music in your family? I mean, or a music appreciation at least?
Yeah, definitely a music appreciation. And my father, my uncle played. My father and my uncle were both promoters as well, which I am as well in South Florida. So there was that part of the business. And I didn't learn that until later in life, until after I was a promoter, that I learned that both of them were into music promotions.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
What kind of music?
Well, my uncle did reggae and rock, and my father did a little bit of rock stuff. But that was kind of short-lived with my father, I come to find out. But it was everything that has become a passion of mine. I basically got through my uncle, which was my mother's brother.
I see. So, was he a musician as well?
Yeah, he played. He was a musician. He played guitar. He played I forget the slide guitar. He played the harmonica, and that was pretty much his forte as far as a musician and music. But he did play on Peter Tosh's album "Legalize It." He played. The Jamaicans called the harmonica harps.
I got you.
So he actually got credit on the album too.
Oh, right on. What's his name?
Well, they put him as Yuck. That was his nickname.
Yuck. How does one get a name like Yuck?
Well, his last name was Yuckman.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes a lot more sense than we found him digging through a garbage can. So we're like, Yuck, there he is. Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. That influence of like an older influence is so important. As like my sister and my father was that for me, as just coming up. They just, my dad listened to like big band and 70s music, and he had vinyl for days and days. And then my sister, of course, she got me into like Ozzy Osbourne and Pink Floyd and Dr. Dre and all that stuff. So man, those influences, those musical influences are huge. Those personal influences. So then did your uncle sort of I don't know, like show you the ropes. I don't know. I think that's kind of a cheesy way
Well,
of saying.
I was a little young.
Yeah.
We, he showed me things from more of a entertainment side
Yeah.
of enjoying and appreciating
Yeah.
the art. And at that time too, The Harder They Come came out, and it played in literally our little local theater, and we went to see it probably 10 times, and it had English subtitles because of the patois so strong.
Yeah.
And that is still to this day one of my favorite movies. We went to go see Peter Tosh play when he was being backed by Sly and Robbie. So there was a lot of live music too, because like I said, he was working with Tosh and he was also a promoter.
Wow.
So we got to go to shows a lot,
So it's in your blood. This is in your blood, man.
Oh, for sure. It's like I can't get it out now. It's just too far gone.
Yeah. So you've been in South Florida your whole life?
Well, for the most part, I grew up here. When I was around 7 or 8, we moved to North Florida for 2 years. Then we moved to Alabama with my mother's parents to kind of help her get herself back on her feet. She had gone through some troubles. And then we moved back to South Florida. But when I was 4, we drove across country and moved to Kauai for 9 months, but couldn't find housing because was a housing shortage. So we ended up moving back to Florida. But most of my 4th year of life, I was living in a tent in Hawaii.
Wow, your parents sound like they were just adventurous.
They're called hippies.
Well, that's cool, man. I mean, like, did you appreciate them being hippies at the time?
I still appreciate that they were hippies. As I feel like I still am a hippie. So it was a very free-spirited, loving environment.
Yeah.
So it was very conducive to, a child of that age and stuff. So, that lifestyle was just an easy lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's interesting to think like Nimoy has said that he wishes you were. I'm sorry, they wish that you were their grandpa. And then
and who is that you're speaking about?
It's a community member who's in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Reina, if you will check your phone, you should have just gotten a message. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Reina. I appreciate it. So it's really interesting because like me and my wife went out on the road with our son, and it's always strange to me. Like, I guess it's strange before you do it. Like when parents or families will just sort of go outside the unconventional, right? Like that's not a normal thing for people to do, is just move to Kauai and then live on the beach with their family and stuff. It's not a normal thing for a family to pack up and just live in a van for like 3 months just for fun. You know what I mean? These are outside the norm. How do you think that influenced your life? How do you think that kind of upbringing has sort of shaped you?
Well, I'll tell you this, and it might also because of my sign as a Sagittarius. I do love to travel.
Yes.
I love to travel, but I think most people love to travel. So it's influenced me that way. And, I have embraced that kind of lifestyle because I have a 10-year-old now, and his mother is very similar in that perspective. So it's, those are very impactful years, through your teenagers. So I found it to be basically, I feel like it's the grounding of and the basis of who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's on a fundamental level, huh?
Yeah, very much.
Do you think North Florida, or if you had to pick, North or South Florida?
Well, I would pick, if I could have the best of both worlds, I would take the weather of South Florida, but maybe live more in North Florida just because South Florida is a little too crowded for me.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a little crowded. I mean, you got Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and West Palm Beach, and those are three of the biggest areas in all of Florida. Yeah. So it's, parts of North Florida are just a little more calm, less stress, more relaxed, and I like that in life now.
Well, like you just hear so many people dump on Florida, like they got Twitter's called Florida Man, and like there's just so many. Why do you think that so many people dislike Florida? What? I feel like most of these people also have never been to Florida who talk shit about Florida. I feel like this is sort of a just something that that just happened. I don't know why. Why do you think people have such a negative? I mean, it sounds like you had a great time in Florida.
I mean, I'm still in Florida. I'm talking to you from Florida.
Right.
And I mean, I can only talk about the good. I mean, and to me, there's not that much bad. It is crowded. Traffic is horrible. And it's one of the more stressful things down here. Some of the positives that I think of might be negatives to some people. There's a lot of different cultures here. Which I enjoy because I don't have to leave to experience many of the Latin cultures, the West Indian and Caribbean cultures. There's basically every Latin and Caribbean nation represented here heavily in South Florida. That can cause barriers or hurdles. So I don't really know, other than the negatives of it being too crowded and a little bit stressful. I don't really, maybe it even gets a little hot here in the summer for myself, but I love the warm weather. I love the tropical environment and the tropical weather. I mean, I love and hate hurricanes. I'm a surfer, so I love hurricanes for the swells, but I hate the damage and stuff they do. But I don't really know why they shit on Florida.
Everybody takes their turns.
I'm not sure.
I mean, like it could be that there's I don't know, drugs, crime, people, anywhere where people want to go and be, I think is going to have the good and the bad. It's like San Diego, of course, it was beautiful. Everybody wants to be there, but also we're 15 minutes away from like abject poverty, Tijuana. And also the things that come with that and so I don't know. I guess anywhere that's nice is people are just gonna come and whether they're good or bad. But I don't know. I'm not trying to shit on Florida. I have in the past.
I don't care. You can shit on Florida. You can shit on Florida if you want it. Don't bother me.
I've never really. I haven't been there enough to know. I have a question from the audience here.
Okay.
This is from Lovely Lace, and I'm going to give it its proper due. Hello, Lance. I was wondering, have you ever been to Oregon?
Yes, I have. I actually like Oregon a lot. I did a tour with myself. I forget the other name of the DJ, but it was also Rocker T and Ja Warrior, and we did Northern California to Seattle.
Oh, nice.
And we did 2 dates in Oregon. I think one of them was Bend, and I think the other was Portland. And I loved it there. Yeah, I loved it. I don't think I would love it in the wintertime, but the summer was awesome.
Well, Lovely had more, and I cut it off because that was the question. But Valley, so sorry. Have you ever been to Oregon Valley? Small town here, surrounded by trees, like you possibly described. I moved from Los Angeles, California 1 year ago. Thank you. Well, thank you very much, Lovely. I appreciate the questions, and thank you for using your fresh bars. That's very nice of you.
I'm not familiar with Oregon Valley. I don't know exactly where that is, but like I said, I went to Bend and Portland and did a lot of driving too, but it was a beautiful place.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's on fire. Well, they're saying in the chat that the smoke is mostly gone now. I saw those. Did you see that video of San Francisco, the skyline of San Francisco? And then someone put weird music over it, and it was like Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it is so like it seriously creeped me out. Like I don't. those it's the natural disasters that freak me out, man. It's like, so hurricanes, I couldn't imagine. It's like, I've been through an earthquake. I've been, like, I've done all that stuff, but it's I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
No, I'm with you on that. That's why I said I love and hate hurricanes.
Yeah.
I've been in earthquakes. The thing that gets me about the fires is that I remember those fires they had years ago that were so big, and they're saying that this is way worse and much bigger. And it's just, I'm not there, so it's hard for me to fathom it because I was so impressed in a way from those previous fires, and to say that they were bigger, worse, and it's just hard to imagine without being there,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know either. You just see all these images on the internet, and I'm in Ohio. I don't know. Like, the worst thing we get here is a tornado. It's like, we're pretty safe here in the Midwest. It's one of the safer places to live. Well, I'm really, like I talk. I'm heavily embedded in. Well, I used to be when I lived in San Diego, and now I still play with a band. I'm still active with a band that tours, but because of the pandemic, no more touring. I was just curious on if you what your pandemic has been like. What have you had? Did you have any was 2020 like? Did you have big plans for 2020 that just got shut down? And I mean, what were you planning before it all hit?
Okay. Well, sounds like it was a two-part question. Yes. So I'll tell you what I had planned and then what I ended up doing.
Please, I'd love to.
So, with the year being 2020, I had all these ideas of it being a good year, good vision, good sights, good fortune, good horizons. A lot of things that had to do with the 2020 significant. Literally, I was getting ready to go into my busiest time of the year, March, April, May.
Wow.
Was preparing for all the big festivals, like you spoke about on the intro, Cali Roots. There was Reggae Rise Up, and Reggae Rise Up expanded to Las Vegas. They're in Utah, they're in Florida, and they were going to go and do another one. So there was a lot about to happen. And Kulcha Shok is also a brand, so I was preparing my brand and getting merchandise ready, and literally March 8th was the last day I had worked. The week, the 17th, my son was off of school, and we were going to Nicaragua, supposed to come back after a week. He didn't end up going. So 2020 was looking to be like a great year.
Yeah.
Went to Nicaragua, and I basically never came back until like a week ago. Literally, that's when I contacted you, because we tried to do this before, but it wasn't working because the technology where I was in Nicaragua wasn't capable there. We're talking about 5G. They're still on 3G, just to give you an idea.
Nicaragua, step your game up, son.
And the big city, Managua, I'm sure everything is a lot more modern and technologically savvy, but where I was, I'm like out in the bush, literally out in the bush. I'm 3-hour drive north of Managua. I'm right on the beach, and it's just pure green trees and living off of the land. And it was great, but there was no work. I didn't have my son. I was surfing every day. I was eating great. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about my health and had great ideas, worked on some music, wrote songs, created some ideas, collaborated with some people. So there was a lot of good, and there was also bad. The good, I think overall, even though economically it was pretty bad for 90% of the world, but I think that 90%, if they used their time right, I think it was a good thing. It was almost like the world was put on pause for a while, and I think it gave a lot of people a chance to rejuvenate, regenerate, refocus, and kind of like have a new outlook on life.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it did for me. I mean, it changed my life completely. I mean, like when I say completely, I went from a year full of gigs, tours, to now I'm just gonna do Twitch and fuck gigs because I am over it. So yeah, that's like and that's a huge life-changing thing. I mean, if you don't mind, why were you in Nicaragua?
Okay, my brother lives there. He has a surf camp called Chancletas, which means flip-flops in Spanish, and he lives on probably the most famous break that he discovered and took me to the following year, and that's just been my go-to place. And my son loves it down there. He's got cousins down there, my nieces, his daughters, and because he didn't get to go, he was supposed to go in December, and it didn't happen. So I had a week off. It was his week of spring break. We're like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
So I was down there literally. I went with a backpack, and I ended up there for literally 180 days.
Okay. So did you have a signal at least?
Yes, there was. I mean, I could do FaceTime and I could do internet, but it wasn't strong. And then, it's a third world country, so it's like we'd be out for a day, 2 days, and then it'd come back on, and it may not be so good, or it'd be temperamental, or it'd be in and out. So, but it was like after a while, you just kind of get used to it. Nothing really bothered you down there. Yeah. There was no stress down there,
Well, I could imagine. I mean, I know how stressed I get with just this stupid ass thing. You know what I mean? Like, I'll seriously be sitting there and I'll have to like throw it like somewhere else because I just like it just I can't even handle it. So I can imagine just having that freedom of breaking the connection. I mean, even just a little bit. I mean, that must be free. And what's funny is that I'm sitting here, pining for that moment of not having electronics around me, when all I have to do is put the fucking phone down. It's like all you have to do is, no, I'm not going to do that today. No, I'm not going to do that today. But no, I am going to do it today and tomorrow and the next day. That is for certain. Sounds like when I visit my family in rural Oregon, lucky to get any signal. Yeah, I mean, really. No, when I was in Oregon, when I was first van lifing, we ran out of gas up in the mountains, and we had to hitchhike. It was me and my little hippie girlfriend. We were touring with the Dead, and just in between between the Portland show and the Gorge show, we ran out of gas and. In the middle of fucking Oregon and no signal, and this was like back when I had a Nokia. Like, you remember Nokia?
Of course.
Like those early ones. Shit signal. Like, nothing. We were just stuck. It was great.
That was a flip phone.
Yeah. Well, it was right when they went to the full face ones without the flip. Okay. It was right. I was on the cutting edge of technology, Lance. I was really doing things. So nice. So then did you get? I mean, so the pandemic hit while you're in Nicaragua, or it was
pretty much.
It hit, and then you're like, well, we have this trip plan. We're gonna go and check it out.
No, what happened was, I mean, there was definitely some stuff going on before I left, or the day I left, because, and I was like, well, I still want to go, and. My son's mother said, well, look, realistically, you could be down there for 6 months. And I'm like, yeah, and I'm thinking in the back of my head, there ain't no way. I'm thinking like maybe a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And literally she was right. And I was there for 6 months to the day, to the T, literally 180 days. And, and I, when I called her and said, look, I still want to go. She's like, fine. I said, look, we're not going to I'm not going to take my son because I know just because of the situation. And so, it all worked out in that sense. I mean, it was definitely really rough to be away from my son physically like that for 6 months. And it's definitely by far the longest, it'd never been more than a week, maybe a week and a half. Yeah. So that's, and I'm kind of dealing with some of the circumstances of that right now, but, I mean, the love's still there and the connection is still there, and, everything is there. Just got to work on it. Got to put back the time in.
It's tough, man. And I mean, I know that feeling of like leaving your family and and then you just feel like you're missing everything, and and they're so only small for so long.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely Lace. Thank you so much for the biddies. I appreciate it. And with my son's 6, so like
Okay.
it's just every time I'd go on the road, like, and it seems to get worse and worse every time I go out. I just get more and more anxiety. I have these
Hmm.
horrible flashes of me dying in horrible ways. I don't know why my brain has to think of these terrible outcomes when it's like I should be happy because I'm gonna go get paid to do the things I love to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's like, oh shit, losing that distance between
That
me and
connection.
yeah, man,
That connection.
it's really tough. It's a really tough situation. I can't imagine being away for 6 months, especially just being stuck.
Yeah.
So I mean, but you were okay down there. I mean, you were on your brother's property and you're taken
Correct.
care of. So it's not like
Yeah.
you were down there starving and
No,
trying.
I mean, it was like I couldn't have starved because on my brother's property alone, I was eating at least 2 meals a day just off the property.
Just stuff growing off the trees and stuff. That's amazing.
Yeah,
I
no, it
love
was
it.
great. It was great. So
Yeah, I mean that oh man, that's what I miss about. Well, that's what's awesome about these tropical places
yeah,
is that
yeah,
you have, like, even in Florida, you have just awesome, tropical fruit just growing everywhere. And I used to
yeah,
walk around OB in San Diego, and you go up into the hills a little bit, and there's a lot of hanging fruit over fences and stuff. It's just, banana trees, avocado
yep,
trees,
yep,
and me being from Ohio in the Midwest, where we have apple trees, and that's cool, and pears and stuff. But like, you go out there, you're seeing just crazy flowers. You're seeing, I mean, for me, for being from the Midwest, it was like going to a tropical place was like, like, you don't know what it's like until you're out of here, because in the Midwest it's just gray a lot. It's just not a lot of sunshine. So
yeah,
obviously going to somewhere where it's lots of sunshine is going to be a wonderful thing, which I miss dearly. But it's okay because I don't want to be in California right now. I mean, like, right now it sounds horrible to be in California. I don't,
yeah,
like, with the fires. With I mean, honestly, it just seems like a mismanaged state, and
yeah,
the horrible, like, the 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 division between poverty and wealth is never been so more apparent out there. I got
yeah.
friends sending me pictures of overpasses, with tents just under them. Have you guys had anything like that going on?
Yeah, there's definitely
With the pandemic and stuff too.
yeah. Well, I haven't been around enough to
Oh yeah, that's
see,
right. You've gotten back. That's right.
but because the weather is warmer here,
Mm-hmm.
you do see a lot or that.
Right. Yeah.
Because the cold doesn't have an effect, and it doesn't get unbearably cold here, but maybe 4 or 5 times a year at most. But there's definitely um, the homeless are here, and and the street people and all that stuff. And I can't say I've noticed it more or less since I've been back. It seems to be maybe a little bit more because, like, definitely seeing people like the panhandlers on certain street corners that I've never seen them on.
Mm.
And as far as the homelessness, that I can't really tell the difference at the moment. But I would assume that if it's hasn't gotten worse, that it's going to get worse.
Do you think that this is all going to get worse before it gets better?
I definitely do.
Uh,
Um,
oh,
I think we're about to go into the worst part because at this point, most everybody has tapped all their resources, whether it be their life savings, their family, their friends that are helping. I think we're going to see much more evictions. We're going to see people lose their homes. We're going to see people lose their cars. Um, and I remember in 2008, they were saying it was close to the depression of the 30s. And my grandparents lived through that, my grandmother, my grandfather, and they told me how bad it was. And, my grandfather was a doctor, so they were okay. And they still had plenty of work, but they're saying it's going to be worse than that. And, I'm not how would you say it? I'm not a economist, but I do follow one guy that's been pretty good, and I just, he's somebody that sells stocks and bonds and
gold.
Yeah, and gold. Yeah, he's a very smart guy, and he's always on the cutting edge. And
What's his name? Do you mind?
Yeah, his company is called Stansberry. They're actually based here in Florida out of West Palm Beach, and the guy's very successful. And he predicted, and he even tells you how. Like he predicted the 2008. He predicted this one here in 2020, and basically everything he said has come true. And he's been on some of the big networks, but a lot of people are trying to shut him up.
Well,
but,
yeah, no one wants, like, that's the one thing that you're not really seeing in the news is, all this unemployment and all these small businesses shutting down. And like, it's very strange that we're really touting how great our stock market is doing, but mention nothing about how people are living, common people are living right now, and how much shit people are really going through. It's very strange, and it's very strange that people would want to quiet him. Why do you think people want to quiet him?
Because he has knowledge that the people that are trying to quiet him have but don't want to share. Okay, because those are the people that are going to benefit from all this, because they're going to buy up all the real estate when it goes rock bottom dirt cheap, because they got the millions to spend it. And they can invest. And then what's going to happen is they're going to turn around when the market turns around in 8-10 years, they're going to sell it, and they're going to quadruple, if not 10 times their money, and just keep rolling in that type of environment. And he has no problem sharing his information. There are certain things he will ask for. You can basically get a membership for next to nothing. If you buy anything from him, even if it's $40, you'll get his membership, and you kind of get in tune to what's going on. And he's saying, there are certain businesses that cater to certain things that will never go under, which are basically the basic necessities of life. Food, electric, phone's going to be one of the last things before those first two, automobiles, those are some of the basic needs. Those will never go out of business. Not, at least not everybody. Some might fall off, but those are things that are kind of short shots. Real estate is too, because everybody has to live somewhere. And I can tell you in South Florida that there is a huge market right now of rentals, and it's been flooded because I actually own two places. I live in one. The other one was my office, and then I started renting it out for, was the office for Kulcha Shok, and I started renting it out. And I had to drop my price considerably just to get somebody in there.
Wow.
Because the market is so saturated, because the market isn't selling, so everybody's turning their properties into rentals, and then that's becoming more affordable to people because they can't afford to buy. So it's kind of a snowball effect. And I really never thought I'd be talking about this on any type of programs. So
this stuff is very fascinating to me. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
I mean, I stay very into this because me and my family are looking into buying a home. Okay. And that was our big plans for 2020. It was like, yay, let's buy a house. No. No.
But I mean, if you have the money still, now is a great time to buy.
Well, not here. So what's interesting, and yeah, childcare, I agree, is another thing that will never go out. People are always going to need childcare.
Because they got to go work.
Right. Yeah, it's here, actually, the market is, the housing market, the stock is low. And so what I think is happening is, like, you have all this, like, huge exodus of people leaving these huge metropolitan areas like Los Angeles, New York, any of these big cities. There's a lot of people sort of fleeing and kind of coming into these mid-sized markets where I live in Toledo. We're not a huge city, but we're not a tiny little pissant city. And also, I mean, the what is it? The percentages is low. What do you call that? God, I wish I
Oh,
could.
yeah,
It's like a 3.0 or something.
right,
Three.
the interest rate.
Thank you. The interest rates are
Yeah.
low, but what's interesting about our area is everything is sort of priced about 30% over listing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's a very hot market for people. It's a seller's market here, and
Well, I heard that too, here in Florida, because a friend of mine was selling his house, and he got more than he was asking for,
yeah.
because there was a bidding war on his, and that's kind of just north of Palm Beach,
Mm,
which is a hot, kind of a hot area. But I can tell you in South Florida, predominantly Miami and Fort Lauderdale, that it's gone down because the amount of houses on the market has gone up.
mm,
Like, for instance, I was going to sell my place, but I got the renter, and was still going to try and sell, but they gave me a 3-year lease. But I know that the value was now almost $50,000 less than what I would have gotten 8 months ago.
jeez.
Yeah, so that just gives you an idea.
Yeah. Wow. Well, so So I guess you're just gonna hang on to those for a minute, huh?
Yeah,
That's a great thing about property, though, right? Like you could just hold on to it,
Yeah.
and eventually it'll come back. Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully we
Yeah.
can make it over this. Whatever's about to happen next, hopefully we can make it over that as a
Well,
whole.
well,
And
Mike, you could come down to Florida, get the tropics you wanted, and maybe get that home you wanted for a good price.
yeah, that's what I hear. I hear that Florida's not a bad it's not bad for housing.
No,
That or
it's not.
what's the South Carolina or North Carolina or something?
Yeah, they're both decent too.
Yeah,
Because I lived in North Carolina, went to school there, so I know those areas well.
yeah. It's I don't know, man. It's just it's mind-boggling the think that like that people want that they don't want to pay any service to people who are saying anything real about like and I'm with you. I think that we're on the precipice of a huge economic crash,
Yeah.
and it's really interesting that no one wants to talk about it. And what I've been finding is just through my basic ass musician research is that what's happening with the stock market is that it's being propped up by tech. So like
Yeah.
Apple and
Yeah.
Amazon, and so it's kind of propped up, and specifically to the S&P 500, which they sort of bundled all these bad loans and stuff together.
Right.
Okay, we're getting into the woods, guys. So what I'm about to say is probably wrong, but what I understand in my stupid brain is that they're sort of bundling all these bad deals together, these bad businesses that are actually tanking, and they're sort of bundling it into the S&P 500, and because of the tech market, it's propping everything up. Once these loans come in, from people start calling in their loans, it's gonna break. The bubble's gonna break. So that was a really bad explanation, and you're looking at me like I'm sure everyone else is looking at me like, what are you talking about?
No, no, no. I'm with you. I'm with
Does
you.
that make sense at all? That's sort of.
I mean, it does to me. And to take your point further,
Please.
this guy Stansberry basically was saying, and you can already see this happening,
Mm-hmm.
that Netflix is going to take over the movies.
Yeah.
Google's basically going to take over the world. Amazon's going to take over consumer goods, and which they already are doing.
Right.
And I was reading this 6 months ago, and he was talking about all these major companies and the role that they were going to play in our economics. And I can't remember. There's like 4 other ones, but they're basically all right there right now.
Yeah.
What he talked about 6 months ago.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So-
Well, and then when you think about it, when you think about how Netflix will take out movie theaters and Amazon will take out any local commerce, and so now you have these empty properties, not collecting any city tax, local taxes. It ends up decimating areas. Flint, Michigan is the best example I can think of
Yeah.
of just a city that was just abandoned and
Yep.
and just gutted to the infrastructure, to the fucking infrastructure. It's fucking awful. Oh no, and Facebook has oil rigs and stuff is wild out there. Yeah, yeah, it is crazy. It is crazy to think that, these companies that are, that I mean, I love Netflix, and honestly, I
Yeah.
love Amazon. I love the. I love that you're shushing people. I'm sorry that I'm
No, no, it's okay.
uh, but it is. It's a sad fact that this is where it's going. And if you're familiar with Andrew Yang, are you familiar with Andrew Yang at all?
Yes, yes.
He wrote a book, and he was kind of talking about how technology was sort of going to, put people out of work, and that's already happening. Truckers are
Yeah,
going to lose their jobs with automation is
yeah.
taking people's jobs. It's automation. It's not the Mexicans. It's fucking. It's scary, and what ended up happening with this pandemic, because he was predicting all this in the next 5 to 10 years, but this pandemic accelerated that
Right,
exponentially.
for
and
sure.
and like you're saying, it's like there's this big swell sort of bubbling up, right? Like, these small businesses are going under, local economies are kind of going under, and fucking people are about to get thrown out of their homes, lose their homes, and the fucking mainstream media is just carrying on like everything's good. It's like, vote for Biden, vote for Trump, like, it's like no
But
one's
one other thing I wanted to say though, in
please,
regards to people don't want to hear it. It seems like, in my opinion, and even the now generation, they don't like to talk about anything bad.
mm,
They like to just kind of like, oh, kind of shoo it under the carpet, or kind of ignore it, or don't take it so serious, or kind of shun it off. So I think that also might contribute to the fact that why aren't people confronting it, admitting it, talking about it?
yeah, totally. I mean, there's a lot we can't talk about anymore, right? Like, there's a whole, like, a moratorium on words we can't say, things we can't do.
Yeah,
People, I get shit for having my friend who is a Trump supporter, and I'm not a Trump supporter, and I'm not a Biden supporter. That's for fucking sure. But the I have him on, and I'm hearing it from friends, randos. Like, why is this fucking dude on? It's because I don't want to talk to the same people that have the same ideology as me. That's not how you grow. That is not how you get
right.
outside of your fucking bubble. It's not how you relate to people, and have empathy for people. Like, you have to
Yeah,
talk about it, because the problem is no one has empathy. Everybody's just like, fuck it, shoot that Trump supporter in the face. Like, they
right.
don't give a fuck.
Yeah, yeah. And I agree with you. You know, I'm not a supporter of either, just to put that out there. But at the same time, I am willing to listen.
Mm-hmm.
I am willing to learn. I'm willing to try and educate myself, because, you know, how long has it been since you voted? And when you last voted, you were voting for, as they put it, the lesser of two evils. Okay. And now, listening to some of my friends that are Trump supporters, some that are Biden supporters, some are in the middle and don't know who to vote for or what to do, is kind of enlightening,
Yeah.
because you can hear some of the good things that you don't know, or it's always good to back up anything that you're saying or that you may be going to take from somebody else, and research it. Don't just take somebody's word for it. And a good friend of mine who I love and I respect his opinion is a Trump supporter. And I was a little surprised that he was, and he told me why. And it's kind of interesting on why he is, and why he prefers him over, say, Biden. And it's like, and it makes sense to me, but that doesn't necessarily change my views. He's like, and he'll be the first to admit it. He goes, yeah, Trump's an idiot. He is an idiot. There's no doubt. The guy cannot speak. He stumbles over his own words, and he contradicts himself. He lies. But he said there are some basic elements to that guy that makes him better. And I'm like, okay. if you can admit the bad and also try to shine some light, it gives it something that's more delible, more easier to accept.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I do.
And there's someone in my family that is a Trump supporter.
Mm-hmm.
And what am I going to do? I'm going to not like this person? No. We're just going to have our difference there. And there's always room, and it's okay to have different opinions or not see everything. You don't have to see everything eye to eye because you're not going to anyway.
Right.
Regardless of who, even in your wife, I'm sure you don't see eye to eye with everything your wife sees.
Certainly not.
Okay. So that being my point, you know?
Yeah. No, and you know, I think you're touching on something that's really, you know, at the heart of a lot of this is that people don't want to listen, and that, you know, there are families out there being torn apart because they can't accept the politics of their family members. And it's
Right.
like, dude, like, this is your family, like these are the people that you rely on, the people that you grew up with. I mean, if you are gonna cut out all the Trump supporters in your life, then cut out your kid's teacher, cut out the principal, cut out the bus driver that takes them to work, cut out your garbage guy, cut out, you know, your uncle who writes those semi-racist things on Facebook. Cut out. I mean, maybe you should cut out that guy, but you know, like you're cutting out you're half of your fucking community. Yeah. And it's like that's not how we move forward. You know, no. people want to force hatred out of people's hearts right now. And like, I don't think that's the right way to do it. I don't think anyone's going to feel like, you're right, I'm going to change my mind on that because you're burning down that person's store. Okay, I got it. Cool. I'm not going to hate anymore. And oh man, and the fact that so much is just, I don't know, it's a mess, man. It's a mess. Cutting people off, I just, they really have to fuck me over hard. You know what I mean? They really have to come after me.
Remember, hate can't force out hate. Only love can.
I like that. I hear the argument from investor types that they like him because he's predictable. You can tell what markets he's going to influence later in the week by what he said in the beginning of the week. Not that it's a good argument, just showing how he helps them personally, or rather they benefit. Yeah, totally.
That's true.
And you know, like something that an argument that I've come across too for Trump is that people vote with their wallets, with their bank accounts. And they know that if they're sticking with dude, no matter if he's a racist, xenophobic twat, they know that their pocketbook is protected under his rule. Right. And that's all it takes. You know,
and that's a whole nother subject too, because people will, their opinions may change because their pockets may be full. You understand?
Yes.
And I don't know. For me, that's hard to do. I don't let money sway me. Mm. If I don't believe in something, that's why I do music, because I love music. Right. I never did music because I did it for a living. I did it because I love it, and will always love it. I don't let the money sway me to go try and do something else. Or, you know, I've always been more worried about putting out the best product as opposed to getting the most money.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I do. I do see what you're saying, man.
You know, and that's just always been my philosophy. Like, you know, when I first started doing this, it was like, I didn't even talk to people about doing it for money. I just wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And then people started going, well, how much do I owe you? I'm like, what are you talking about?
I just want to be a part of the fun, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what's cool about that job, is that you do get to be part of the fun without lifting equipment.
Yeah, exactly.
You lift a microphone and you're good.
Yeah.
Okay, we got another question from Lovely Lace. Do you think we are in the last days like the movie Doomsday?
Is that for me or for you?
That's for you. Me personally, I don't think so, but please.
No, I wouldn't go to that extent. But at the same time, um, I think there could be some drastic measures that may happen and fall upon some people that we might see some victims fall on maybe some of that, unfortunately. Um, I I don't really feel I am completely qualified to talk about this. I just have some knowledge, and my philosophy on knowledge and wisdom is I always feel it's better to share than to hold it to yourself, because what good is it if you go to your grave knowing all this stuff but you don't share it with anybody and help spread it?
Yeah. Well, because it's yours and it's all mine. Me, mine.
Right. Right.
And
and there
why.
are people, but there are people like that, and and that's one of the reasons I've had that experience. Like, they didn't want to share anything, and I'm like, okay, well, whatever. That's kind of weird, but I've made it a point to try and be the opposite.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with you, and that's one of the reasons why I even started this podcast, was to just spread information, because there's so many musicians out there who want to be musicians, who want to, who are good, but have no idea that there's a whole nother side to it, that isn't the music business. You know what I mean? So like there's a lot of talented musicians out there who are just sort of running around with their heads cut off. And that was me, for years and years and years. And like that
was all of us.
Yeah, exactly. We're out there fucking floundering until we see our path, or you stumble upon your path. It's just, so that's part of the reason why I even started this, is because I want to spread information. I want people. I love talking to people from other parts of the country, other countries. I want to know what it's like to be a musician in Latvia. You know what I mean? I want to know what it's like to be a musician in fucking Bend, Oregon. Like whatever it is. To me, it's more about.
So let me ask you a question then. Sure. Let me ask you a question, because it struck me as interesting, and I'm sure there's several people in your position, but maybe none of you have shared it. But you don't want to tour anymore. You just want to do Twitch TV. How is that going to correlate into something that you can support yourself and your family off of?
Well, okay, that's a great question. Because at this point it's not, and I'm like a lot of other musicians are benefiting from these unemployment benefits, and that's been wonderful. But for me personally, once all the unemployment's gone and the Twitch. It's a monetary system. People tip you. People subscribe to your channel. You get paid off of it directly. Am I at the point where I was making money out on the road and touring and playing shows around town? Not at all. Not at all. So what's been wonderful about this pandemic is that it's given me given me paid time to restructure my life to make it more of what I want to do. I make it the life that I want it to be. And I love this. I think, the Twitch thing, because this was a podcast long before a Twitch stream. So to me, this is just a huge expansion of the podcast. I still play music on the show. Like after we're done, I'll probably do some reggae shit, just because we have Lanzo on from Kulcha Shok, so I'm gonna do my reggae rhythms, and so like to me, it's the best of all the worlds, because at the end of a gig, if you're not a huge touring musician, that is, at the end of the gig, after getting there hours early, setting up for sound check, then standing around for hours, and then playing a show, and then it's 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., whatever it is. Then you gotta tear down all this fucking equipment, and then you gotta pack it up, and then you gotta drive home, and it might be like 5 minutes, or it might be fucking 5 hours or 20 hours, whatever it is, and you have to move on, and it's just I'm done, man. I'm almost 40. I don't, I'm down to do these local gigs, maybe tour once in a while, but I'm not trying to do it like that anymore. Like now,
let me say this, Mike. Please. You see, the pandemic. The hardest part from moving from one profession to another is the transition time.
Of course.
And of course, the pandemic has subsidized you in a way that you're creating that transition, you're creating a following during that downtime that maybe when it's time to go back out on the road or go to work, I may be hopefully at that point that, hey, I can be more selective. I'll take the tours that I want. I'm not going to go tour like a whore anymore. And you know what I'm saying? Because that was a big thing in my life. What I thought was the worst thing that happened to me was part of my transition that forced me to go full time into music, because I lost the job. I was doing both, building my career in the music and radio, DJ and business industry. But I was also working part-time at the airline so I could go fly and do gigs for free, or travel for free, but also making a little bit of money. And then I got fired, and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? But I was a rat jammed up in the corner with his back against the wall going, what the hell am I going to do?
Yes,
and then I was like, I just came out throwing punches, and it worked. It worked.
Yeah.
And that's basically, if that never happened, I don't know that I would have gotten to where I am today.
Yeah, you know what, man? That's the same exact fucking thing that happened to me. I didn't work at the airline, but I did. I had a job. It was an office job. It was just, it was soul sucking. It was like a cubicle. It might as well have been prison walls. I'd sit there for hours just trying to figure out how to not do work, and it was just, you know what it's like if you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing, but you have to because I had a newborn son and I have a wife, and we live in Southern California, 3 blocks from the beach. So that, like, you have to take that on the consideration. So you sort of eat shit. Well, in the process of because my wife in the process of eating shit, my wife, we started a business. She ended up getting thrown under the bus at her job. And so she lost her job, and we started our own business, but she started teaching music. She started teaching voice lessons, and we just had our baby. And, thank God I had a full-time job with benefits, because I was able to provide. And then, between trying to get the business up and running, and a newborn baby, and this full-time job, and trying to be a musician, something had to give. And my job, which was probably one of the more important pillars of this story, I fucking was like, fuck this. I'm just going to start doing whatever I want, because fuck this job. I hate it. And it's way easier when I just do whatever I want. Yeah. So I just did whatever I wanted and ended up getting fired. And there's nothing worse than coming home to your family fucking telling them that you got fired for being a dipshit. You know what I mean? So, but that shame, that fear of homelessness, and to see my family being hungry, me and my wife were like, fuck it, we're going all in. We're gonna have a yard sale to pay rent, and we'll have next month to get our shit together. And goddamn it, we did. And awesome. And that's how it goes. That's how it goes. Yeah, I'll give myself a round of applause for that. Shit.
Yeah, I'll give you a round of applause too.
Because that's awesome, though. But that's the hardest part of taking that step towards your dreams, is taking that step off the cliff and having trust in that. Because it's not always gonna work out. But if you're putting your mind to it, and you're really working, and I mean really working, like, you're not just sitting there fucking hoping that gigs are gonna come from the sky. Like, you really have to go out there and fucking find it. Mm-hmm. But you can do it. You just got to take that fucking step off the cliff. And
you got to believe in yourself too.
That was the thing I was missing. And that me getting fired was sort of my way of sort of pushing myself forward and being like, no, it's time to be a big boy. And because like, if you're seriously going to be a musician or an artist or an MC or a radio DJ, whatever it is, it's like, you got to fucking really do it. And I didn't. And for years, I was just an alcoholic fucking up other people's gigs. You know what I mean? Like, I was up there playing like a turd, and no one, I didn't have a real career until I quit drinking. So it's just, you work your ass off your whole life to get to a point, and then a pandemic happens.
So, well, I mean, it's the same story I had. You know what I mean? Mm. And that's why I always try to encourage people to do whatever it is they love to do, because when there's passion behind it, you can't go wrong.
Right.
You can't go wrong, and you're going to do a job 10 times better at something that you love instead of a guy sitting in a cubicle trying to figure out a way how not to work. You know what I mean?
I do.
So it's like,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
because what use is that guy who's just sitting on company time, going
exactly.
to the bathroom 10 times a day just to sit on their phone, you know what I mean? Like what use is that human being if they're not fulfilling their potential? And the problem is that we don't teach our youth, we don't teach anybody to hit your potential. We teach them to accept the status quo. It's like go fucking either go to college and get in soul crushing debt,
Mm-hmm.
or do you need to take care of something?
Yeah. One
Oh,
second.
go ahead, man. Please do. I'll just
No,
sit
no.
here.
I'll be right back.
Oh, do your thing. I'll sit here and catch up. Let's see here. I want you to feel like I've been wasting my time, though. Wish we could have a different system that supported more than two parties. First pass.
I gotta go to the bathroom too.
Do your thing, brother. I'm catching up on chat. Yeah. Fuck a two-party system. This shit is ridiculous. Nimoy, thank you so much. Dang, I feel attacked. No, I don't. I wasn't attacking you. I hope I'm not. Maybe I missed something. No. I feel like it's. Oh, I'm in the middle of a conversation. I see. I do like. I say you guys were talking, and I just came in here and started butting in. In my opinion, you're making money on the stock market requires someone on the other end getting screwed. Yeah, I think you're right about that. Mighty, thank you for the bits. Nimoy, again, thank you for the bits. Just because I should be working right now. That's all right. Oh my goodness. Nimoy, thank you so much for the subscription. And we got a hype train going, which, again, that is uncomfortable for me. Wait, is that a hype train? Oh, it is. Yeah. Ugh. That's so weird for me. I'm sorry. Hype trains are so weird for me. I'm not going to hype up the train, but thank you so much for that sub, Nemo. I really appreciate it. And you're sitting over here. Here's a round of applause.
Out in the street, they call
you got gunshots. You got this too.
I'm not hearing any sound effects.
That's okay. I'm sorry, man. That was for someone just subscribed to my channel, so I was showing them a little love for.
Well, I like sound effects, so that's why I was saying I don't hear. I want to hear.
You know, I'm trying to figure that shit out. I don't know how to. That I've been racking my brain with it. It's like, how am I gonna route the sound back in there? Because I want my guests to be able to hear all the dumb shit I'm doing over here.
Yeah, I want to hear it too.
And I want to be able to send the signal back through so my guests can see it as well. But I don't know how that would ever work.
I think you're gonna have to do some sort of splitter.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to upgrade to Zoom Pro.
Well, you were talking about that earlier anyway.
I am because I have some guests coming up that I'm really excited about, and I've been doing this for a few months now where I'm just like, okay, here's this one, let's try this one. And I'm been just to avoid paying money. And it's just, it's occurring to me that it's like, well, maybe a couple dollars a month is worth having a solid connection with and being able to have people on securely. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just me being cheap again, but it's just, you gotta take responsibility eventually. I forgot what we were talking about before all of that happened, so we could just move on. I was curious about you and how people see reggae music and the people who participate in reggae music down there. In Southern California and SoCal, there's this thing that people like to do calling it white boy reggae, and I'm sure you've heard it before.
Of course.
And with all the wonderful things going on with protests and, people in the streets and people telling you what you can and cannot say, I'm not hating on protesters at all. I am hating on rioters, though. Don't riot. Don't like it. Don't approve. But protest peacefully, everyone. And try not to get a corona or spread it. Good luck. But they have this notion that only that it's white appropriation, right? Like that's the thing, or it's black appropriation, or it's Jamaican appropriation, cultural appropriation. My bad. How is that viewed down there in South Florida?
Well, it's definitely something that's come up quite a bit. Even I was being interviewed by a West Indian 2 days ago. And they're like, "How did you get so much respect in this business as a white person?" And but the appropriation thing for me is really, I think, a little misinterpreted, because I think it's more about cultural appreciation. Now, if you are trying to use it as a platform to better yourself in a economic way, then I can see it as appropriation. Okay? But I come from the standpoint, what we talked about a little bit earlier, is that it comes from a place of passion, of love. And the thing is, the society here, the makeup of South Florida is very diverse and dynamic. So, a lot of the West Indian cultures, Caribbean cultures, especially like Jamaicans, Guyanese, Panamanians, Bahamians, Trinidadians, a lot of them are used to a very mixed cultural society as well. Now, typically, they're the upper class, but they are there. So the thing about it is, there is that, and I mean, the appropriation thing to me isn't really significant down here, as I've seen it in other places. So I'm not seeing it, and I'm pretty much just in reggae circles for the most part.
Right.
So, so they're kind of used to that, so it's like when somebody white does reggae, if they're doing it right, they're going to applaud you, and that's, they applauded me, and they didn't know I was they didn't know, because I was on the radio, they couldn't see me. They didn't know what I was for years. Many of them thought I was English. And when you're English, and I don't know where they get that from. I don't think I sound English, but they thought I was English. And, when you have an English accent, you can be black or white.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a differentiation. And because this kind of a question came up the other day, but it's like, so when I came out publicly, it was like, oh my God, he's white. They couldn't believe it because they thought I was something else. They thought I was like a 300-pound black man. And I'm a 160-pound white guy. I'm like the complete opposite. And so I don't really feel like that appropriation is, at least it's not in my circles. It may be in somebody else's musical, and I don't really see it. I've never been accused of it. I've never heard of it. Well, I can't say I've never been. I mean, there was one time somebody made a comment with a question mark, like, "Is this appropriation?" ? And I'm like I just told you, I just told them, said, no, this is appreciation.
I like that. I like that a lot, actually, that the appreciation answer to appropriation.
Yeah.
That's like that's a classy way of saying go fuck yourself. It's like, yeah, bro. It's like, no, well, I don't know. I mean, do you see a reason? Do you see a reason for people to be upset for such a thing, for appropriation?
Yeah, I do. I mean, there are definitely cases or situations that it, I think, is a valid reasons. I think but I think the people that it is valid or might fall into that situation, I think, are bringing it on themselves most of the time. They are taking what they know and what they have a little too far. Yeah. And when you push the limits on something like that, you're already in an environment that is not necessarily yours, but then you're going to push the envelope and you're going to push values maybe or something, that it can be a situation. There's one that's currently in say my circles, like in the West Indian Caribbean circles. There's a guy named White Chocolate who made a name for himself as a dancer to Caribbean music in the islands of St. Lucia, which is predominantly soca, and they have like a little French influence. So there's more of this, even bouillon, which is like a style of soca and Caribbean music, and they're talking about this guy being, but he came out and said, that he's paving the way for black dancers to make money. And he was misinterpreted. What he was trying to say was he was trying to create a platform for these Caribbean dancers to make money or help subsidize their living through economic forms, like maybe Twitch, because it's one that pays, YouTube that pays, eventually if you get to a level on Instagram, it's one of those situations. And I don't know the whole story. I only know what I've read in the media. Okay. So there's two sides to that story, and I don't really know either. I've kind of heard a little bit of both, and it just sounds like what he said was misinterpreted, or maybe he went a little too far. He was trying to take too much credit. That, granted, I watched some of the guy's video. The guy, is a good dancer. You can't deny him that to Caribbean music. And there's you either look really good dancing to that, or you look really bad to that. Yeah. To that style of music, especially soca. Soca's not, that's a very fast paced, and you gotta really be moving, So it's like, I give the guy credit on his ability, his talent. Where did he cross the line? I'm not quite sure, because like I said, I don't have both sides.
Yeah.
So that's just an example.
Yeah. Joe Biden. Oh gosh. Yeah, there's definitely, I agree with you. There's definitely cases out there where it's like, holy shit, that is definitely you're just straight up, like you're paying no service. And you know what, to be honest, like there was a lot of that kind of stuff in, there's a lot of that kind of stuff in San Diego, in that scene where, you have a lot of posers. And I hate to call them posers because, in a lot of these cases, they're just kids who are just trying to make music. And they're up there and they're doing the patois. And it's like, man, you're from Anaheim. You're not from Jamaica. It's like, I'm not, I try to reserve my judgment. And here's why, is because I've been at these festivals. I played in these music. I've been deeply embedded into the scene, into the Cal Root scene. I know, I know a lot of people in there, and I know black, white, Mexican, lots of Mexicans, lots of Latinos. And every time that we get together and every time we play music, the crowd is multinational. Everyone's having a good time. Everyone is together as one. And when I'm playing in front of these crowds. So I know that what I'm doing isn't taking away from anybody. It's like I know what I'm doing is giving. And there's also this one cat named Josh Heinrichs who made a really good point, I feel like, is that...
I know Josh.
Yeah, Josh is amazing.
Josh is great.
And Skillinger. And Skillinger fits that profile as the white kid with the dreads, and he does the accent and stuff. And now, I talked a lot of shit in my day. So you gotta understand, I come from a very anti white boy reggae thing and then becoming it. So you gotta understand, like, I got sucked into the scene and then seen what it was about. And then all of a sudden I was like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah. So it took me a second. So I don't want to say that I wasn't one of these people who were hating, but, that was a while ago. That was a long time ago. So what Josh was saying was that he's recorded with Marley Family, him and Skillinger, in Jamaica. You know what I mean? So, and he has the blessings of the Marley Family. And now, if you don't have the blessings of the Marley Family, and if you have the Marley blessing and you can't accept them, then I don't know what to tell you. Because if the Marleys accept them, then I feel like everybody should accept them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And then another point, because I have a whole fucking argument against why fucking appropriation is full shit. And not in all cases, of course, not in all cases, but music has always been that thing that's crossed racial lines. You know what I mean? Benny Goodman back in the day used to travel with Teddy Wilson and Lionel Hampton and that continued that tradition of jazz and then into rock and roll and Jimi Hendrix and like it's always been something that's pushed barriers beyond what they were.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Even the blues.
Even the blues especially. And like the blues is rock and roll, the blues is rap, the blues is jazz. Right. It's all that.
Yeah.
And so what? Everybody's appropriating now. You know what I mean? Like I don't get how you can say that it's appropriation if it's pushing the boundaries, if it's breaking boundaries of racial tensions, and it just doesn't make sense to me. It just brings people together. Music brings people together, and to say that you're taking away from them, from other people, I feel like is kind of bullshit. But
no, I agree.
There are some cases, and I'm not going to say it's all things, but I think it's for the
it's I totally agree with you. And I'm going to take it one step further.
Let's do it.
That imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, if you're not doing it properly or better, my philosophy is leave it alone. So if you can't speak patois like a Jamaican, I used to do it. But I can speak patois now. When I was doing it, I couldn't really. But once I learned how to speak patois, I kind of left it alone. But if a Jamaican comes to speak to me in patois, I'm going to speak to him in patois. Yeah. It's like if you come to me and speak to me in Spanish, I'm going to speak to you in Spanish. If you come and speak to me in English, I'm going to speak to you in English. Yeah. But the thing that a lot of people may or may not realize, and most people understand it and realize it if they didn't already, is that the white boy reggae, the reggae rock, whatever you want to call it, surfer boy reggae, whatever you want to call it, is just another form of reggae music, okay? Basically, they are doing, and I was like you, I was on the outside looking in, and then kind of now I've adapted into that world, and I can look out, but I've just broadened my horizons is all I've done. But my point being is that that portion of the music or that area of the music has basically brought, in my opinion, has brought rock back into reggae. Because rock, if you listen to Bob Marley's, Al Perkins played on some of his early stuff. Yeah. He was brought in to play that rock riff. Mm-hmm. So it's not like it's something completely out of left field. Rock, Chris Blackwell incorporated that rock sound into Bob's music. He wanted to market him to the rock world, okay? And then when ska got picked back up, what was incorporated into it? It was rock again. From the two-tone era to the third wave to, if you want to call it a fourth wave now, you know what I mean? Whatever you want to call it, or an extended third wave. But there seems to be more traditional two-tone-ish Jamaican ska coming back and a little less punk. But the other thing that this American reggae has done is it's brought pop melodies to make it more more accessible, more widespread, which you could say is a good thing or is a bad thing. Good in that it's getting out there to more people. It's a bad thing because it's watering it down. But me personally, and I think the thing that crosses barriers with music is melody, because there is no language in melody. Melody is what carries a song. And I am a melody junkie. I don't care if you're a Justin Bieber. I may not admit it to you, but there are melodies by Justin Bieber I love. Okay? Yeah. Okay? Sure. And and they're probably not even his. There's some probably songwriting team that wrote it in a little cubicle in Toledo, Ohio, but it's okay. Right. But my point being is it has opened the doors. Reggae has so much fusion now And I was against it. Now I embrace it. I wasn't going to say I was against it. I didn't really know it. I remember a friend of mine brought me the whole collection of Sublime. And I listened to it for days just so I could get used to it. And there was stuff I loved. And then there was stuff on there I was like, these guys just stole this guy's song. They stole this bass line. They stole this song. They stole this lyrics. You know, I mean, Smoke 2 Joints a Day isn't even Sublime. That's the Toys.
Yeah.
Okay? You know, there's Half Pint songs, there's Barrington Levy songs, there's Don Carlos songs, there's Black Uhuru songs that, you know. So it's like, I'm have become very, very, very open to, you know, my precedent is if it is of any sort of Caribbean origin, I will listen to it without a doubt. I'll listen to Drake. Oh, Drake's got a new dancehall song out. Sure, I'll listen to it.
Yeah.
You know, am I going to agree? Well, you know, some of that earlier stuff to me was pop garbage, but, you know, it definitely had some dance hall overtones, you know.
Yeah.
And what's this other guy, Ed Sheeran? That guy, but that guy loves reggae, and you know, and he loves dance hall. And to me, you know, if those people are going to embrace it and take it to another level, that's only going to do anybody. Like whenever there was a reggae song that was in the top 40, my business was going up. You know, if there was being played on top 40 radio, whatever song, even if it was just that one song, I was getting more calls for more gigs or let's do more reggae or whatever. You understand?
I do. I remember,
so it's
go ahead.
You know, I embrace it all.
Yeah, and I think that's
bottom line.
I think that's the reasonable approach to it, instead of just being like, "Fuck you! You're not the right color to be doing that. I hate you."
Yeah,
it's like, let's erase hate with hate, right?
Exactly.
I don't. But yeah, it's Inner Circle's still a band, right? They're still touring.
Yeah, they're actually based here in Miami.
Yeah, because Nimoy was saying the Cops theme song has been stuck in his head since this topic started, and Inner Circle's still rocking. And Reina is a believer, and Lovely's name is Melody, so you know she loves music, and which is amazing. Which I love that. I love it.
Well, you know, Bad Boys got dropped. The show got dropped because of all this racial stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you know, because of the cop thing. But even the members from Inner Circle came on a program and explained that it's not putting cops in a good light. It was actually and they still dropped the show. You know what I mean? It's like crazy.
Yeah, you know that's ridiculous, because I feel like Cops has been a good show. I feel like people are just looking at it the wrong way because of what's going on. I think Cops, for me as a young man, as a young Midwest hellion, Cops was a great education on what not to do when the cops are around. So for me, Cops was like education, and I think it should be for everyone else as well. The cops. It's like you know, I don't want to hate on the cops. You know, like I think they're great. You know, like I would call them if I needed to, but there is something wrong in you know, something's rotting in Denmark. You know, there is something to be said about all of that. You know, I didn't realize that you did music as well. You recorded music. I know you put together like mixtapes and stuff, but I didn't know that. Do you sing? Like, what do you play?
Well, here's the thing. You know, remember we were talking about college, and I didn't feel like I was a great musician.
Yeah.
So I went into radio. But I've always had music in my head. And a lot of times when I have a melody, I'll record it. And what I do is, just because I don't practice music anymore, I get somebody else to play it that is 3,000 times better than me and one of the best in the business, you know?
Yeah, that's how I try to do it too.
So I'll record melodies, and I'll have somebody else record it, and that'll like be the basis of a track. And then, you know, depending on what kind of feel I want or what kind of sound I want, I'll bring this guy in and say, hey, play something for me for this. Or, you know, like a lot of times, like I love horns. So what I'll do is I'll have the horn players play off my bass line, just as the melody, do, whatever it may be.
Right.
Simple bass line, or play a piece of it. and then the drums pretty much falls in, and then the keyboard will kind of double up on the skank or whatever. But I also do arranging and also write songs. So I have a publishing company, and I have Kulcha Shok. At one of the first bigger things I did was it was a label for a long time, and I'm trying to get back, not trying, but I am getting back into that. But you know how recording is. If you don't have your own studio, it takes a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, I'm slowly working back into that. And I got really inspired during the pandemic when I was in Nicaragua and have some really great ideas. And, I am a huge fan of reggae. I'm a huge fan of ska. I'm a huge fan of rock steady. And I do love dancehall, and I do love soca, and I would love to get into all that eventually. But reggae's my forte, and we're definitely working on. We were hoping to maybe get some releases out this year. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But you know how it is working with musicians. If you don't call them 10 times a day, you're not going to get shit done. And I'm not that kind of person. Like I sent a track out to probably 30 people in March, April.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how many songs I've gotten back?
5.
You are very good, my friend. Very good. We'll call it 5.
Okay.
It's been maybe 5. It was actually 4.5 because 2 people have sent me 2 half songs and a couple people have sent finished ones. So, but it's interesting because, we'll basically, from a business standpoint, we'll do the splits.
Mm.
I just, I'll pay my guys, I pay them a little money just to play, just so keep them happy, even though it's my music, I'll still pay them, it's like a studio musician. Yeah. And then the artist gets their song credits unless they're singing one of my songs, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I do a lot of publishing splits with my stuff and give them what's theirs, and I can also administer it because I have a publishing company, so I'm able to administer for them. And and I have nothing to hide. I'm a window. I take 20% for administering, So, I try to be fair. And that was one of the reasons I got into the business side of music, because I was dealing with a lot of Jamaicans in the beginning and they knew nothing about this. And basically producers were stealing everything from them. Yeah. And so I helped them. Some of them, I helped them set up their own publishings,
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So, it's, that's kind of where I'm at, and then when some of the bigger artists, they want they want some upfront money, but when you do the math, I'll just put an example out there. Somebody wanted $800 to record a song. Mm. It was their song, my track. And say, for instance, I put it on, all the digital platforms, because basically if you get a distribution deal now, as you may or may not know, and I hope you do know, that you're on about 400 platforms nowadays. Right. Because there's versions of Apple, iTunes, Spotify in every country. Right. So you have to have an administrator that can do worldwide. So what happens is, now if you know the breakdown on what you get paid for, say on Spotify, you have to have as many as 100 spins before you get 1 cent. Okay, that's one of the breakdowns. I'm just being real, okay?
Oh, I know. I'm aware of these breakdowns.
So you think that somebody that's doing 55 million spins on Spotify is getting rich? They're not getting rich. They're making some money. Yeah. And they should be, but they're not getting what they should. It's not like what it used to be in radio when you'd get royalty checks for radio. And if you got on TV, forget it. If you were in a movie, yeah, you might be able to retire. Right. But nowadays you can't. The movies and the TV are really hard. Radio is there, but it's not quite as lucrative as it had been. So when somebody comes to me and says $800, and I'm thinking about the life of that song, that means if I'm spinning I get 1 cent for every 100 spins. That means $800 times 100 is 80,000. Is that 80? Yeah, that's 80,000 spins. Is that song going to get 80,000 spins? But this is not even including production costs, marketing costs, mastering, mixing, whatever I have to give, and you're usually given, if it's Apple or iTunes, you're giving 50% up.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's another 80,000 just to pay those people. That's 160,000 spins on Spotify. We're going to use Spotify as an example.
Sure.
That's 160,000 spins. Now, if it's downloads, that means it has to be, just say on iTunes, it has to be 1,600 copies have to be downloaded just to pay the artist back. Is that song going to spin? 1,600? You know where that would be on the Billboard reggae charts? That would be number 1 by far.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay? Because I see albums that sell 30 copies get in the top 10. It's not the numbers like they used to be.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, I'm just being realistic. So I'm like, when I thought about it and I told them, I said, hey, realistically, this economically doesn't make sense for me. Yeah. So I said, does it include publishing? Because if I get the publishing, and I'm not asking him for it, I'm asking if it includes.
Right.
Because me as a producer, I financially have to think about it. But as an artist, I don't think you should ever give up your publishing unless they're going to give you millions of dollars.
Right.
Because you never know what can happen.
Absolutely.
And he goes, oh, you'll never get my publishing. And I was like, great. And he's like, oh, okay. At least, I wasn't trying to be a greedy mongrel. I was just trying to be a businessman.
Yeah.
So, I'm working with those who are willing to work with me in that aspect. If they believe in themselves and they believe in what I'm doing, then they will get what's rightfully theirs. I can't pay one person $800 up front.
Yeah.
You understand? Unless we're going to do something much bigger, and this is just the beginning.
Right.
So it's like, because when I first started doing production, I had put $40,000 into an album for one person. And we had a deal that I said, look, once I'm paid back, then I can start dispensing your royalties and your money from sales. And, there was some stuff coming in on royalties that probably only amounted on about $300 without my cut taken out. And they got upset with me, but I had $40,000 into their thing. And then they were like, oh, I'm done with you. And I'm like, really? I go, you're squabbling over $200, $250 when I spent $40,000 on you.
Which, by the way, they didn't even take the time to think about that. You actually recoup that money. So that means that there's actual market for what they're doing. And that means if they would just fucking sit the fuck down for a second and work with you, that they could develop into something much more lucrative.
Right. And then on top of that, because when you have the artist, and if the artist is out there selling their CDs, it's easier for them to sell it than it is me as the producer.
Right.
It's like, who are you?
Right. Exactly.
But here, this is my album.
Right.
I can say it's my album too, but they're like, where are you? Oh, I'm like, oh, I'm this guy in the credits.
Right.
But they see this guy's face on the front.
Right.
They're like, oh yeah, I want to buy it from him.
Right. Of course.
They want to support him,
And touring with their album and that,
exactly.
all that stuff. Adam Flair UK said that Bandcamp is good to musicians. Is that something that's...
Yes.
Yeah. In which way? I hadn't heard that.
Bandcamp is good because it's a direct platform, and I'm surprised you don't know it because you know what I find? You find certain genres on certain platforms more than you do others, and I find a lot of ska bands use Bandcamp, and Bandcamp Bandcamp, I don't know that, I forget their percentage, but it's very reasonable. And then once in a while, what they'll do is they will waive the fees, and so you'll see artists promoting, oh, this Friday, buy our stuff, and we, basically they'll make the price a little bit more because they'll get everything.
Mm-hmm.
There's a, and I learned this from a band out of Canada called the Prize Fighters. You know them?
No, I don't.
Oh, they're a great band, great ska band, and and Bandcamp has been doing it a lot during the pandemic to help encourage sales for the bands because they're not touring, and Bandcamp seems sympathetic and more compassionate than a lot of the other platforms because they are willing to kind of do these kinds of things.
You know what? Now that I think about it, I was hearing I should go back to managing my own music files and just buy from Bandcamp if you want, Nemo. It's hard. It's hard to I have a Spotify, like I use my Spotify all the time. It's like we consume music how we consume music. It's just how maybe for certain artists, you know what I mean? If you really like a certain indie artist that you really like, maybe supporting them through Bandcamp is the right choice. Otherwise, if you really like Bieber, if you're a believer, you could just stream his ass on YouTube or Spotify. He's going to get his money. He's fine. But Bandcamp during this pandemic, and I think they're still doing it. Yeah, Bandcamp and Cash App has been very supportive. Actually, when it came to in Twitch, there's something in order to start monetizing your channel, you have to reach affiliate status.
Right.
And so what Bandcamp, SoundCloud, and maybe another one, and actually Amazon Music just started doing it. They put you on a fast track to affiliate because you have to have like 3 people in your stream and you have to have so many hours streamed and it's kind of work to get that affiliate status, and which is fair enough. But what was cool about SoundCloud and Bandcamp and now Amazon Music is you can fast track that so you can come on first stream ready to make money. And that's what I've been. I actually was just in a stream before we went. His name is Josiah. He's a DJ who plays with a band called something and Tings, Rhythm and Tings, maybe. I don't know. He's from Miami. He knew exactly who you were. He's from the 305. I think.
Yeah, that's Miami.
I wish I could remember his damn name. What was his name? Anyways, his name. He's a DJ on Twitch. And he was killing it. People were tipping him and stuff. So, I mean, honestly, if you were ever looking into going that route, I bet you would do well. Oh, thank you, Saucy. Fart. Saucy wanted me to say fart, so fart. Okay, there you go, Saucy. I said fart. It's like for streaming a DJ set or mixtapes, whatever it is, he was killing it. He was really killing it. His name is Josiah, and I asked him on the podcast during his stream, and so. It's a really interesting platform, and you got to give it up to Bandcamp for and SoundCloud for doing that. And you know what? I have heard Bandcamp is a good place for musicians. It's just been so long. You know what I mean? I remember talking about Bandcamp at the beginning of this podcast, at the beginning, 5 years ago. I remember someone telling me about Bandcamp, but you know how it's you go through. There's so many music platforms. It's changing ever so quickly, and it's just so hard to keep up. Guess I could buy some merch. Yeah, buy some merch. Seems to be
but I mean, just from my knowledge, I would, and maybe you can share yours too, Mike.
Good.
I would say look into it more, but my understanding, Bandcamp seems to be one of the better ones.
Mm-hmm.
Now, SoundCloud, I'm not sure because...
Oh, well, SoundCloud don't pay you. Well, they just started now paying people.
Right, because I know you normally have to pay once you get to a certain amount you have of storage. Because I have 3 new mixes on there that I just did for a company, and they wanted it on my SoundCloud. So I had to expand and get the premium paid.
Yeah.
But it was fine because they had paid me to do it. So I didn't, so I got these mixes are going to be up there for like a month that I did for this company called Surf Expo, who I work for. It's a big surf convention.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I love the gig. It's just, the vibes are just positive, but they're up there. And, so to hear you say that now they're monetizing is good, because I know it was kind of the opposite. You had to pay to be on there,
Yeah.
And I'm not here to talk bad about anybody. But in a sense, I don't necessarily particularly like Amazon's business practices.
I feel
They're, just maybe look into them just so that they may have similar beliefs that you do. I don't, they're very aggressive, and, they're a very successful model. I don't knock them on that side. We are in a, business oriented world.
Right.
And anybody like you and I who love to do music, we do have to have some business savvy to our side of things. But I've also been hearing good things about this platform, Twitch TV, as DJs, because I've heard it from a lot of DJs, and I'm looking for a platform like that. I have a online radio station through my website, and I'm looking for a new platform for that, because TuneIn app was what we were using, but now they charge. So it's, there's so many different platforms now, and like I was speaking to one of my DJs, because we do some live stuff once in a while, and we're looking at Twitch TV. We do stuff on Instagram Live, but then there's also Facebook Live. There's, there's Twitch now. There's YouTube Live. There's so many different platforms, and I was thinking, well, why, is there a way to use them all? But I find that if you want to do those 5, you need either 5 computers, 5 accounts, or 5 cell phones. It's like would be really tough.
Well, no, not necessarily. I think you can't do all 5 at once, but there is this program called Restream. And Reina, can you put in the other one too? The other popular one. It's called Restream, and really, and also Streamlabs OBS, which is the program we use for this. Yeah, I know, Ray. We're getting there. Reina, we're getting there. There's Streamlabs OBS has the capabilities of streaming to several different platforms. And if you go back and click that link I sent you to this podcast for this stream, you'll see like what OBS does for me and how awesome it is. But you can stream to at least Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube on Streamlabs, and then I believe you can add Restream in there to get another platform. The thing about
like Instagram, Instagram,
you know what? I think Instagram is a very weird one, because it's because I don't know if you can actually restream with Instagram and Facebook at the same. Instagram's a weird one. I don't know if there's any restreaming apps or anything out there that can touch Instagram. But I don't know. We're in a new world right now. Things are changing all the time. But what I would suggest, if you want to restream, is check out Streamlabs OBS or Restream. But the thing about restreaming to several different platforms is the not being able to build an audience that you can really interact with. Yeah, I mean, like, that's the biggest thing, is like, it's also, if you are a Twitch affiliate, you will lose your affiliate if you're caught restreaming. So if you are monetized on Twitch and they catch you doing that restream thing, they'll take your monetization away. YouTube is been a very popular. The thing about Twitch is that it is made for this kind of thing. Like, I feel like Instagram Live has kind of reach something that Twitch maybe, but not even really, because if you think about it, on Facebook and Instagram, these are people, maybe it's different for you, but for most of the time, people are like, oh, I'll check out this band for like 5 seconds, then move on. The chat is just sort of random things, and there's no cohesion. There's no reason for people to stay. And Facebook isn't really a place where people go to see streaming stuff. You know what I mean? They do, but it's only because they're on there in between the racist uncle post and, like butts, So it's just in between those, in between their swipes is that band that's playing. Another thing that I noticed when this pandemic hit is all these bands started, doing Facebook Live a lot, and they were making lots of money at first, but then it quickly dwindled. And it's because Facebook is not a place for streaming music. They're trying to get into the gaming world for streaming, but they're actually, Facebook right now is limiting on what you can stream as in live performance. If you are playing covers, they're going to start cutting you off. If you're playing, so that's the thing about streaming to Facebook. If you're trying to play other people's music, they're going to shut you down right away.
No, we learned that, and that's the same with Instagram. So we were playing, so as DJs, we can cut the songs because we just mix them.
Right.
So that's what we were doing. And there were some songs, like for instance, it wouldn't be 2 minutes until Damian Marley comes in on the guest spot. Right. So what we do is we play the chorus, and then we'd mix Damian in for 30 seconds, and then we'd let the chorus come back in, and then we're out.
Right.
And so, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so we kind of prepare for those things because we got cut off a couple of times.
Yeah.
So you have to be, they're trying to stay one step ahead of you, but you got to stay one step ahead of them.
I agree, but they're tightening it down, and even new regulations, even more so now, they're tightening down. Like as of last week, they released a whole new terms of service in regards to this and how they're going to be really stringent. So it's like I'm telling all my musician friends who have been streaming on Facebook this whole time. I was like, dude, you need to find a new platform. Like, the reason why Twitch is so cool is because it is built for that. I mean, you could look at YouTube. There's an argument for YouTube. I mean, it's a huge platform. There's lots of people on there, but it's not really a live streaming platform. People don't go to YouTube all the time to go stream their favorite. I mean, they do, but it's not widely common thing, right? People go to YouTube to see, people getting hit in the nuts or kittens or Ben Shapiro or whatever. It's like, Twitch is specifically for streaming. It's specifically made to build communities. It's specifically made for you to interact with your fans, with your community, with the people who like you, and you see growth. The other thing that's amazing about Twitch is that you don't have to worry about those fucked up algorithms. The algorithms are like on Facebook, your shit gets buried real deep, The thing about Twitch is if you have 5 people in your chat, that's where you show up. If you have 10,000 people in your chat, you show up at the top. You know what I mean? So it's just fair. It goes from zeros all the way to thousands, and so the algorithm isn't fucked up yet. It's also owned by Amazon, by the way.
What, Twitch is?
Yeah. So that might be another nail.
Told me that.
I know. I was thinking that, but it's been my hard sell for Twitch since I started it. It's just been literally life-changing for me.
Good.
Well, we're winding down here, and I want to sort of close on a happy note. So what's your plans past? When we get past all this bullshit, what's your plans? What's your happy plans?
Well, I mean, my plans have kind of started now, because first of all, I'm back in the country and been away for a while. So, it's to get live music back out there again, in any shape or form that I can. Because just last week they opened up stage 2, letting venues do 50% capacity. So I'm trying to get some of my stuff going and talking to bands, and I'm looking, and now that I have the technology and the capability, maybe doing some more live streaming until we get to that point. But one thing with me is anything I start, I like to continue it. So I want to try and do something that, even if I'm gigging or out working or DJing or promoting a show, it's something that I can do on a consistent basis, because that's how you build your audience. But the main thing right now is just trying to get live music back out there in any shape or form. So I kind of been doing some homework, seeing who's doing stuff, and now I've tried to talk to a couple of them and maybe just go visit some of them and be an audience member and a business perspective kind of view as well, So that's kind of where I'm at, and to hopefully do more in the recorded side of the music as well.
Nice. Yeah, we're having like these little hippie festivals. Like we have like jam band music. Jam music is pretty big here in this region. And they've been doing these little hippie festivals where they have about 200 people and they cap it, and so there's been comedians doing the drive-ins. Actually, I saw Hyrie was doing that out in San Diego. They did a drive-in or a parking lot thing. They've been doing those kind of gigs and stuff. So yeah, it's been it's some things are opening back up. Things are happening, but I don't know, man. I don't know how I don't know how this winter is gonna go. As we go into fall, as the election season goes, as it's just craziness. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on the show and talking so open and honestly. Do you got a little bit of time to play a quick game here?
Sure.
Cool. All right, guys. You know what time it is.
I don't.
Everybody give Lance a round of applause. Oh, I forgot that we have this. Claps. Oh, man. Hold on. I'm trying to give you claps.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, we're gonna get it. Oh, I forgot, you guys. I also added this today for anybody. I keep forgetting about these stupid things. Here you go. Here's this. Oh, let me see if it works. Did it work? No, it didn't even work. Well, there you go. Okay. Well, thank you, Reina, for those claps. I appreciate it. Let's play. How much does it cost on Craigslist? I'm gonna put a BRB screen up real quick while we set up, and we'll be right back with how much does it cost on Craigslist. Oh, there it went. There it goes. All right, guys, stick with me. What in the hell is going on with that? What? Oh, I know what's happening. It went on to another playlist. Alright, hold on, guys. Here's a song that you guys never heard by me and Reina Mystique. Alright. That was quick. All right, Lance, can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. Okay. Name of the game is How Much Does It Cost on Craigslist. It's basically like The Price is Right, but you can go over on price. Also, once you drop a bid in the chat, or if you say it, Lance, it's it. You're done. No changing bids. I gotta put these rules up front because y'all are trying to get it over on me. All right, and of course this game is brought to you by ModedStudios.com, our lovely sponsors. They are who is providing the patches today. And also, Reina, can you drop a link for Canapura link? So we're gonna be playing for a patch, CBD. We're gonna be playing for I'd Rather Be Inside, or a CBD joints. So that's what's up for. Oh, thank you for those. Oh yeah, it's CBDs. I forgot. So we'll be doing that. And here we go. Here's the first item up for bid. We got a sheep wagon, ladies and gentlemen. This sheep wagon is for sale. Queen size bed, wired with vintage light fixtures, 2 USB ports, wood stove, side out table, new tires, stained glass. Very nice. So this was a sheep wagon that someone converted into a like little mobile wagon thing. So I put the pictures up so you guys can see the inside. Here's the outside. Here's the inside. Oh, the BRB screen's still up. Sorry, guys. I'm such an asshole. All right, we're coming back for you guys. Wow. I just realized how much I didn't do on that break. Wow. Just give me 1 second, guys. We're going to come back. Thank you so much, Nimoy, for telling me that I didn't do the right thing, because I would have just kept going like a dipshit. We're almost there, folks. We're almost there. All right. There we go. So it's a sheep wagon. Of course, here it is again. Sheep wagon. Sorry, guys. Sorry you didn't get to see that. There's a sheep wagon, and then here's the inside. So as you can see, there's a queen size bed. There's a little wood stove there. There's some nicely, it looks like custom cabinets in there. It looks pretty cool. I don't know why someone chose to put it on a wagon, but sweet. All right, guys, drop your bids in the chat. And oh, Jay Bartholomew, what's up? Thanks for stopping by, buddy. You're just in time to drop a bid.
All right, I'm gonna say $3,000.
$3,000. All right, Lance has $3,000 on it.
And I'm not a Craigslist shopper, so I have no idea.
Well, that's okay. And this is out of Joliet. Where's this? Joliet. I don't know where this is at. Dang, that's a nice wagon. I'd buy that for $1,000. Jay Bartholomew, we are bidding for a patch or CBD joints. So please put a bid in there. How much do you think this item cost on Craigslist? And here's the inside for you, Jay, just in case you didn't see that. So, all right, guys, drop your bids, and we will. Lance, yes, 3,000 for Lance, 1,000. Mighty has 15,000. Comes with a stove. That's right. It's a wood stove. That's right. There you go. You like that, huh? What's up, Saucy? Thank you for dropping those emotes. Thank you for being here, buddy. Always appreciate seeing you in the chat. Okay, is that everybody? Jay Bartholomew, you want to sit this one out? Cool, no problem. I was wondering what was happening. The door looks deceptively thin. Oh my god, you're right. I would have to turn sideways to get in that son of a bitch. Okay, all right, it looks like everybody's bid. All right, guys, I'm gonna do the drum roll. Here we go. Okay, I didn't do anything. Great.
Wrong playlist.
Actual retail price on Craigslist. Oh, I have two things going on at once. Great. Oh, you can't see it. $19,000. Who won that? Who is that?
Somebody said 15.
Yeah. Oh, Saucy Chicken Nugget. Hey, Saucy, you win a patch or CBD joints. Which one do you want? All right. So Saucy won the first one. We're moving on, and then we're gonna let Lance go because we've held on to his time. Okay, we're moving on. All right, this is funny. I thought this was kind of funny. This is actually a whole smoke shop, a vape shop. So, smoke/vape shop for sale in on Pines Boulevard. Why didn't they give the city? I think this is out of Florida. Smoke shop/vape shop located in a major busy shopping center by a busy street ensures a high volume of vehicle and foot traffic and a steady stream of clientele. This smoke shop is definitely your one-stop shop for all your smoke needs. They have a wide selection and variety products from top quality CBDs, e-pens, e-liquids with touch of alternative flavor. Okay, so you get the idea. Now it turned into an ad. How did this turn into an ad? Oh, thank you for dropping that Discord, Lovely. That was beautiful. Lovely, please participate if you'd like to win a patch. I'd love to, if you won, I would love to send my new mod a patch. So please, vape nice.
There is a Pines Boulevard in Hollywood,
Florida. So this is probably on Hollywood, Florida. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so how much does this entire smoke shop cost? on Craigslist.
100,000.
100,000. Lance says 100,000. You guys drop. Don't smoke or vape. Only weed. I feel you, lovely. I feel you. Well, that's why I have CBD joints. And plus you're in Oregon. Like, they're just giving weed away out there. They're just fucking. It's like.
What do you mean? You're giving weed away too? What are you talking about?
No, this is CBD. Now, sir. Now, good sir. This is CBD. This is federally legal to send anywhere in the country. I'm just kidding. I don't give a fuck. If I could send weed, I would be sending everybody weed. Everybody gets a joint. Okay, so Lance says 100K. Let's see what else we got here. Reina says $85,000. Mighty, you think 800,000? No THC in it. Yeah, you're right. It's a bum. It's Bummer Town. 800. Wait, is that $8 million? That is 60. Wait, is that 1, 2, 3, 4? That is $8 million. Mighty, you think it's $8 million? Okay, awesome. Nimoy goes 420,000. Nice guess. Too broke. Go ahead, Lovey. Drop a thing. I would love to see what your thing. What you 40. Hey, Nimoy, you know the rules. I just told him. I appreciate it though. Nimoy changed his to $420,069, which I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Nimoy. But you know the rules, bro. You know the rules.
Yeah.
I was up front with him this time. All right, Lovely is being shy. That's okay, Lovely. You don't have to participate. J Bartholomew, come on, baby. Drop a bid. I'll send you some CBD joints. We need more people to win other than the people who always win. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a couple more seconds to get a bid in, and then we're going to find out how much this item costs on Craigslist. And then we're going to cut our guest loose so he can go live his life and make more music and get live music back out there. What's Lance's vote? Lance's vote is 100,000. Okay, I'm gonna do it, guys. I got you. You don't have to play. I know that patches and joints aren't everybody's cup of tea. All right, guys, here we go. Let's get the drum going. Drum roll, please. Actual retail price on Craigslist. I'm trying to wait for my alert to go away. Okay. $650,000. Who has got that? I think that's Nimoy. Nimoy, you got it again, baby. All right, got your address. Let me know what you said.
What did he say?
Nimoy said $420,000.
Yeah.
You said 100K. Mighty said, wait, what did Reina put down? What did you put down, Reina? Oh, 85,000. No, you were way wrong. I just wanted to meme. All right, he pays you $450,000. Yeah, exactly. Someone needs to pay me $450,000. All right. I really appreciate it, Lance. I really do appreciate you coming on the show and just being a gentleman and sharing your knowledge with us. And let me take you off presenting so we can say a proper goodbye here. There he is. Lance, I really do appreciate it. Like, I really had a great time chatting it up with you and getting to know you better. And I hope maybe one day, if I can get over this non-touring thing, that I can, maybe one day my band will come through Florida and we can play together and we can hang out in IRL.
What is your band?
It's the Skanks Roots Project.
Okay, yeah, I know the band. I know of the band.
We have a couple albums on Ian Young's label.
Yeah.
We kind of like this year. I don't know. I think everybody's sort of bummed out from the year. I don't know if the Skanks Roots Project is going to continue, but it's been a really good time, and I hope they do, because I do love those guys. Those guys are my brothers.
So do you play with anybody else or just them?
Yeah, well, I in San Diego I was playing with like I would just be like more of a sit-in guy and Skanks Roots Project, and I was playing with an artist named Janelle Monet.
I know Janelle.
Not Janelle Monet, my bad. Janelle Phillips.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's the one I know.
Yeah, Janelle Monet is an amazing artist as well, but no, I was working with Janelle Phillips, who is now a bodybuilder professionally. She's quit doing music because
really,
yeah, she had a problem with because she was signed to Stupid Records.
Yeah,
and she had a problem with Miles, and I think she was the problem, honestly. I don't think it was Miles. I think she was young at the time. I'm not trying to talk shit about Janelle because I love her. She put me in touch with so many cool people. She like built so many bridges for me, but she was young, and she didn't really know the game, and now she does. But now she wants to bodybuild, and God bless her.
But she got talent, man.
She does, man. And you know what sucks? Because like I really liked her songs, and I really liked her approach to reggae, and
yeah, she kind of had like an R&B flavor, right?
Exactly. Yeah, she had R&B. She loved Amy Winehouse, so like she had a lot of that influence going on with her too. So it's sad, but this is how the game works, right? Like the person who's the front runner is now fucking bodybuilding, so it's like it happens. But yeah, I would play around with bands just sitting in and just having fun. And then I did a lot of like local gigs, cover gigs and stuff in San Diego. But but here in Ohio, I played with a bunch of different bands, and me and my wife played together. But I might do that live stuff again. But as of right now, I'm okay with this.
Well, if you do come to Florida, let me know. And if I come to Ohio, I'll let you know. Toledo is in what part? Is that the southwest corner?
Northeast.
Northeast. Oh, the opposite. Okay.
Right. So we're east of Cleveland directly.
Okay. All right. I know where you're at then. How far are you from Cleveland?
2 hours. I was supposed to play that reggae festival, by the way, this summer. Or early summer, right? That was supposed to be early summer?
Yeah, that's usually June.
June, yeah. Yeah, I was slated to play that with a local Jamaican fella here by Ross Accurate, but that's not happening. I was so excited to play another reggae festival because I haven't played a reggae festival since California, and the vibes are great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they are.
All right, man. Lance, thank you so much. Everybody go check out Lance, cultureshok.com. You see it in the chat right here. Click on those links. Go follow him up on Instagram. Go buy some stuff from his store. Go give this guy a shout. Lovely Lace says, thank you, Lance. So
thank you both, Mike, and
lovely.
I hope I'll tune in again sometime.
Please do. And if you are interested in Twitch and ever have any questions, please hit me up. I'm down to help.
I will hit you up because I definitely need some help.
You're gonna need a lot of help. It's crazy. It's insane, bro. It is insane. All right, Lance. Have a good day, sir.
All right, thank you.
Later. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know oh my gosh. That was I love talking to reggae people around because I was so embedded into the reggae scene. So it's just been really fun to have a podcast where I get to talk to like a lot of these